encore. Connecticon is proud to bring you Danielle McRae.
Hi guys.
So please, Danielle, tell us about yourself.
So I'm a voice actor. I got started at a very young age and I loved voiceover as a kid. Watched a lot of 80s cartoons like Thundercats and Rainbow Bright, and around those days I didn't know that people were actually getting paid to voice over these characters. So I thought people just went in a garage one day, all huddled together, just did voices in a garage somewhere, and they just put it out on TV. And later on in the years I was like, I heard more about voiceover, so I'm like, oh, that's what it's called. So I first wanted to originally draw professionally for video games, character design, stuff like that. And a friend of mine who took a theater class, they were doing their final presentation, which was supposed to be a play. So they had a costume on, it was like a Shakespeare play. So it was like one moment they were like themselves, all bubbly and quirky. The next moment they were very serious and kind of scary. And I'm like, it's so cool how he kind of switched like kind of characters, like just his real life, his real self and his darker character. So that kind of got me into voiceover. Then I took workshops, Bang Zoom workshops, which is a studio in LA that does a lot of anime and video game voiceover work. And a teacher over there who's also a voice director named Tony Oliver, he kind of discovered me through those workshops, and I just started booking things. It's pretty cool.
Awesome, awesome. We're going to open the floor to questions right now, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Joe Sorrell, GameSense.net. My question is, how would you recommend for people interested in getting into the industry, any type of advice you would give for people interested in voiceover acting or getting into the gaming industry as an artist?
I know it's who you know, but I really feel the best advice I can give anyone who wants to get into this is do a lot of theater. Because I know voiceover is pretty much like theater. But it's like you're in the microphone and you're kind of performing in a little black box by yourself. But the more you understand your character and the more you do theater and improv, the more you can feel comfortable with voiceover. So I highly recommend theater classes, improv, anything you can get your hands on theater-wise. You're welcome. Any other questions?
Will?
Yes.
The DD Panda from the DD Panda blog. Have there ever been moments where you're in the, doing your voiceovers that you're like, you want me to do this?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that happened a lot. I know for Skullgirls, I reported for that for Painwheel, there were a few lines in there that, because she's just all screaming. Painwheel in there, she's very like grunge-worthy. I call her like a. I kind of made a joke about her, like she should be like the next Slipknot member, but she kind of has that Slipknot kind of vibe about her. But there are a lot of lines in there that they had to kind of take out just because it didn't translate well. But I don't know, I just felt some of the screaming lines, some of the ways I'm going to say certain screaming lines is kind of weird, but in the end it all came out really well. So it happens almost every game and show that it's the territory.
I also, I'm sorry, I had a question.
Yes.
What would you say is your most memorable role?
I think it's a tie between Painwheel from Skullgirls and Karma from League of Legends. Karma may be my main one because she's my very first character I actually voiced. And around that time I had no idea what League of Legends was. I didn't know how big it was going to get. Like when I auditioned for it, it was starting to get up there. And I had no idea who this character was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And she kind of is a part of it. So, yeah. I saw your hand back there first, and I'll get to you.
Dan Moore from GuyStation.com. I was wondering, how did it feel to be a part of two big video game series in League of Legends and Warcraft?
Oh my gosh, for World of Warcraft, I find that very surreal because that was a game that I thought I'd never get into. I auditioned for that game 6 times, and I thought, okay, I'm never going to get in. This is not going to happen. And I got in, like, pretty much as a luck. I had no idea I was going to get into that. In League of Legends, I had no idea that was going to get super big. Like, as I said earlier, I didn't know what League of Legends was until a friend of mine kind of got me hooked to it, and I just still play it. Hours go by, I still play it. I didn't know I was going to get super big either, so I feel very, very proud of both those games. And you? Yes.
Nick Gansel from GeekVision.tv. Have you ever gotten halfway through voicing a character and thought, this voice was a mistake? Like, as you got into trying to play the character, been like, wow, I wish I hadn't gone so high pitched, or I wish I hadn't gone so deep, or I wish I hadn't gone so...
Yeah, that happens almost every game I do. It's more of like a mental thing. Like, you feel you're doing something wrong, and the director's saying, no, you're on the right pace. There was a game I did, and I thought this character's voice sounded completely wrong from the audition, doesn't sound the same, and I kept asking the director, like, am I doing okay? He's like, yeah, you're doing great. So it's more of a mental thing. It happens every single time I record. Yes?
Elson or Power.com. Is it weird to like play a game that you voice someone in and then just like hear your voice, like, no, I recorded that voice, like pre-immersion or something?
Yeah, at first, when I played League of Legends and my character was released, I couldn't play her for a while just because I kept forgetting that that was me that recorded it. So it was more of like a surreal thing. It was kind of outer body experience. I still get that now, but it's more, I'm getting used to it a little bit, but I just call it, it's a crazy lady. It's not me, it's her, so. Still kind of weird. And I think I saw someone else's hand at that. Yes?
You had mentioned, InkFromAnigamers.com, you had mentioned dropping some lines in Skullgirls dropping some of your lines
Yeah.
as untranslatable. Do you happen to remember any of them?
I remember one in particular that I really wanted to keep, and it wasn't really like a line that had dialogue. It was more of like kind of like an homage to, I believe it was Friday the 13th? Yeah. Where it was like Camp Crystal Lake and you knew Jason was coming. He's like, ch 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 ch. And that was the sound was the make for pain wheel. We had to cut it out, and I'm like, that was gonna be so cool. So it was supposed to be one of the moves that she does in the game, but they wanted to cut it out for, I guess, so interesting reasons. Yes.
Dan Warren again from GuysNation.com. I was wondering, has anyone ever recognized your voice just out the blue? You're somewhere, maybe talking to someone or joking with someone. I know you. I know that voice. Have you ever had that happen to you?
That happened to me like last year at Starbucks. I ordered like a frappuccino, like a caramel frappuccino, and I said it in a really weird voice. Not like this, but it was like Karma from League of Legends. I was really tired that day, so I was like, I'll take a caramel frappuccino. I was like, oh my gosh, you're Karma from League of Legends. So yeah, that's happened, and I was like, how did you know? Sorcery, what is this? So that was interesting. Yes?
Is there any voice of another game that you think you would have been better for?
Oh gosh. There's so many that I've auditioned for, and oh gosh. You know, that's actually a hard question, because for Skullgirls, I originally auditioned for a lot of the characters for Peacock, for Parasol, and the other characters. I really wanted to be Parasol, just because of her character, personality, her traits, and she's very loyal to her sister. It's kind of how I am. But when I heard Erin Fitzgerald, she's an amazing voice actress. When I heard her voice over for Parasol, I'm like, okay, it's you. But at the same time, it's like, gosh, you're lucky. But yeah, it's kind of a hard question. I never thought about that.
I have a question.
Yes.
How would you define the career of a voice actor?
It's very inconsistent. Like there's times where you have a lot of work, and other times it's just kind of dry and there's tumbleweeds that go by and you don't know when you're gonna get your next gig. So it's more of like an opportunity. Like you just take the punches as you go.
Awesome.
The best way I could describe it. Any other questions? Yes.
You were InkFromAnigamers.com again. You were introduced as a gaming and anime fan.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your favorite like 3 favorite titles from each?
Oh, it's so hard. I have so many. First off, my dad was the one who got me into video games at like 8. So he had me playing with the Super NES starting off, and he's like, I want to try and experiment with you. I want to see how you will react to these video games, because he didn't really know it himself. He just wanted to see how I'd react to it. So I was his guinea pig. I played a few games. I played Super Mario Brothers and a few other games. And I'm like, I like this. Let's get some more games. He's like, okay, well, we'll get some more games for you. And then I started getting more systems, the Nintendo 64, all the PlayStations, and all that stuff. And ever since then, I've been hooked. And then the PC came along. I'm like, forget it. I'm not leaving my house. But my 3 favorite games, it's hard. I have so many. I'll take Metal Gear. I love the Metal Gear series so much. And some of my ringtones on here are very Metal Gear, so we got this that one. I like Final Fantasy. I love 9. Final Fantasy 9 is my favorite. And third one's really hard. I'll go with Tekken 3. I love Tekken. I love Tekken 3. Yes.
I guess I'm gonna be asking questions on David, that's okay. Dan Wolf from GuysNation.com again. I was wondering, being an old school gamer, starting with the Super Nintendo and all the other systems, are there any games from back then that you would have loved to be a part of and do a voice for?
Metal Gear 1. That was my very first, I think that was my very first time I heard voiceover in games. And there's a woman who's here that kind of inspired me to do voiceover. Her name's Jennifer Hale. And her voice,
It's amazing.
it's amazing. So she kind of got me inspired into voiceover, and I kind of thank her for inspiring me to take on this path, even though it was really hard. But I really do have to thank her for, you know, all the voices she did and inspiration. So she's my senpai. Yes.
Joe, GamingSense.net, what is your process like when you're preparing for a role?
When I prepare for a role, I usually I sing a lot. I sing for fun, but for me, I sing in different character voices. So if my character is, let's say, Ping, well, she's like this, I sing in that voice, but I don't want to strain it because then I'll lose it for the session. So I'll try to mentally think, what would that character do in a situation? What would she do during traffic? What would she do, I don't know, just placing an order or getting food? So I would I'd kind of like method it and just think as that character until I go to the booth and I'm already in that mindset. So it makes it easier to record. Yes.
Geeky Panda again from the Geeky Panda blog. Since you're a Metal Gear fan, have you tried, like, you know, going to Konami and be like, hey guys, can I be in Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I actually did that this E3 this year. I was trying to talk to Hideo Kojima because he was there, and I couldn't find him. So I talked to some of the people who were working with Phantom Pain, and I was like, guys, I'm a really huge Metal Gear fan. Like, if you guys have any more voiceover parts you're willing to fill, I'm ready. Even if it means I can die. I would love to die in your game, so it'd be an honor. So yeah, they were like laughing, so I don't know if they took it seriously.
We have time for about 2 more questions.
Yes.
Magic Rock from WHUS. Does it ever startle you when you hear your own voice in game?
It does. I think the one character that kind of freaked me out when I first heard her was Payne from Skullgirls, because she's very different from my voice. She's very deep and raspy and very gruff, and my voice, well, here it is. So it was very weird just hearing that, and then playing as her was kind of weird because it was always my dream to voice in a fighting game, and to actually do that and to hear my voice come out of that, it's kind of like, that happened. That's actually a thing. So it was kind of scary hearing that one for Skullgirls. Yes?
Nick Gansel from GeekVision.tv again. Have you ever been playing a video game that you did a voice in and then heard yourself say a line and go, I have no memory of recording that line? When did that happen?
Oh my gosh, yes. There was a game called Atelier Escott and Logi I recorded last year, and one of the main characters on there, she said a line. God, she was being really mean to one of the characters, and she said something about how she didn't have time for something, and I was like, I don't remember saying that. It was a weird, certain line. I can't remember it now, but I didn't remember recording that. It's interesting.
Well, the floor